What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode 130 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy these podcasts, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends, or click on the support link in this episode's description. Your donation of any amount could change a life. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. When we come back, we'll get into this episode entitled, What's My Identity? Welcome back to episode 130 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast entitled, What's My Identity? For my regular listeners, here's one more episode inspired by a Jim Croce song. And we'll get to that at the end of the episode. As I've worked with many people using the From Ashes to Destiny curriculum, one of the common themes that keeps people stuck in their addiction, homelessness, or addictive thinking is the question, I'm not sure who I'll be if I try to reintegrate into society. Or they might say, for decades my identity has been I'm an addict, or I'm homeless, or I'm a prisoner, or an ex-con. So what do I do? Well, the challenge is to find your identity, who you are, and who do you want to be? And I'd like to start with a quote by Ralph Ellison in his book, The Invisible Man. And he said, when I discover who I am, I'll be free. So this searching for identity, this searching for who we are, is really finding a freedom to move forward in life, a freedom to dream, a freedom to plan and pursue your future. But we have these doubts in our head because of our past mistakes and failures. We've been labeled so many times as a loser, an embarrassment to the family, a good-for-nothing who will never amount to anything, that these are the stories we keep hearing in our head. And in the book, The Name of the Wind, by Patrick Rothfuss, he said, and I'll quote, it's like everyone tells a story about themselves inside their own head. Always, all the time. That story makes you what you are. We build ourselves out of that story. Whew, deep quote. So from that, I see that a key step in finding your identity is to work with your coach, mentor, counselor, or your group to rewrite the story in your head. It can simply be the shift to look at your past and say, that's who I was, but I'm not that person anymore. Or to rewrite your story by saying, that's what I did, but it does not define who I am. You see, the key in rewriting your story is being able to first start to identify who you are. And that reminds me of the song by Israel Houghton entitled, I Know Who I Am. Here's some of the lyrics. I am forgiven. I am your friend. I am accepted. I know who I am. I am secured. I'm confident that I am loved. I know who I am. I am alive. I've been set free. What a challenge right up front. Can you sing all of those words or just part of them? I'd ask you to, listen again and see which ones fit you and which ones you need to work on. Because as we rewrite our own story, many guys still struggle to be able to forgive themselves for the things of the past. And in A Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin wrote, never forget what you are, for surely the world will not. Make it your strength. Then it can never be your weakness. Armor yourself in it, and it will never be used to hurt you. Pshaw. So one of the keys in moving forward from this past story is to be able to say, yes, I'm guilty, but I will not continue living burdened by guilt and shame. I can forgive myself. That step can be the step that allows us to grow in wisdom from the experiences of our past. And it could be a key component in our character development for the future. And character development is an important step in defining our identity as we move forward. In the From Ashes to Destiny curriculum, this step of character development is 9 chapters long. It's a long process. And really, another way to look at character development is to say that it's our time of identity exploration and development. An American psychologist, James Marcia, in his theory of identity development, outlined 4 identity statuses for us. He calls the first identity foreclosure. In this status, it's really when people have made a commitment to identity without having explored the options. So the person's not really engaged in any identity experimentation or exploration, and they've just established their identity based on the choices or values of others, or just taking on the identity of the family we grew up in, or staying stuck in our identity from our past behavior. The second of the statuses that James Marcia outlined is called identity diffusion. And this is where we don't even see the need to look at our identity at all. And we avoid exploring it and typically go into a deep, deep social isolation. But again, the focus of this podcast is to redefine and develop a new identity, not stay stuck in our past behavior and call that our future identity, and not stay in isolation socially or whatever. So we look at the third phase from James Marcia, and he calls this stage a status of identity moratorium. It's a period of active searching for one's occupational, religious, ethnic, or other form of identity to determine who we are. The moratorium is that you're not committing to a new identity or holding on to your past identity until you have fully explored all of the aspects of your character. I wholeheartedly believe that when you're in the phase of character development, of identity moratorium, of seeking your new identity, that you do take time and work closely with your coach. And I've found that the words of Mahatma Gandhi can be valuable wisdom at this stage. And I quote, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in service to others." So for me, as we serve others in various capacities while we're in this identity moratorium phase, we find out what we truly love to do, what we value in life, what makes us tick. And that can help form our character and form our identity moving forward. And that's the fourth and final phase, and that is identity achievement. And this is where we truly have defined or redefined ourselves, and we have an identity that we can hold on going forward. And yes, this brings us to the Jim Croce song that I talked about as the inspiration for this episode. And the song is called "I Got a Name." So as you listen to these words, this is a goal for me, for each of you, as you get to the point of identity achievement, that you can sing this song and that it rings true for you. Here goes the lyrics. Like the pine trees lining the winding road, I got a name, I got a name. Like the singing bird and the croaking toad, I've got a name, I've got a name. and I carry it with me like my daddy did. But I'm living the dream that he kept hid. Moving me down the highway, rolling me down the highway, moving ahead so life won't pass me by. Can you be at the point of identity achievement where you've got a name, you've got a song, and you carry it with you, and you're moving down the highway so that life won't pass you by? Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you'd like to join an online group or one-on-one counseling to help you in your journey to find your identity, please message me on the link in this podcast or by email at davidfromatod@gmail.com or go to my website www.fromatod.org and click on the contact page. You can keep in touch with what we're doing in From A to D by following me on Instagram at DavidFromAtod. Tune in Monday for our next episode, and as always, stay safe and stay strong.